Hey guys! So today I'll finally be telling you guys about the time that I was scouted by a K-pop company and why I rejected it. So many of you guys said that you'd be interested in hearing me talk about this topic, which is why I'm doing this video today. And I know I said I'd release this video earlier, but basically I've been having a really bad sore throat, and even right now I sound really crackly and I sound really bad basically. So just please excuse that, but I didn't want to postpone this video any longer. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So jumping back to late 2016, I had basically just started my dance channel and I was posting really low quality dance covers on my channel. Those were the days. But I guess some casting agent from DSP Media must have seen those videos, because one day I received an email in my inbox inviting me to a private audition. And for those of you guys who do not know, DSP Media is the company that manages groups such as Card, Rainbow, Hara, and I think they manage Cheskis as well. So it was a pretty reputable company, and I was obviously really flattered to be invited. So at first, I was totally dead set on going for this private audition. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a huge K-pop star, right? But before I decided to actually go ahead with it, I decided to do a little bit more research into the K-pop industry, because anybody who has been listening to K-pop for a while would know that artists are constantly suing their companies, claiming that they're overworked and mistreated. And I really wanted to investigate these claims so that I could make an informed decision. And guys, all I can say is I am so glad I did my research, because there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that nobody talks about. I decided that for me at least, the cons of being a K-pop star outweighed the pros, so I went ahead and rejected the private audition. Knowing that some of my viewers are actually aspiring K-pop artists themselves, I felt like it was only right for me to kind of share what I have researched with you guys. So obviously, because I never actually became a K-pop trainee in the end, I can't confirm with 100% certainty that everything I present in this video is fact. But then I did do some additional research prior to making this video, and I corroborated the information with some people that I knew that were K-pop trainees. So hopefully you'll find this video insightful, and yeah, keep watching because I'm gonna be spilling some tea. I guess I'll start off with the disadvantages. So point number one, it is the low chances of success. So it is actually very hard to succeed in the K-pop industry nowadays. As most of you guys know, you usually start off as a K-pop trainee, and training time is usually about 5 years. But after those 5 years, there's no guarantee that you'd actually get to debut. I know of so many instances whereby people have been training for many years under the same company, only to be let go last minute. And the reasons can range from you not being good enough at singing and dancing to things that are completely out of your control. So for example, I know of someone who had been training for quite some time under the same company, but because the company went bankrupt, they just had to abandon the whole idea of debuting anybody. So my friend didn't even get to debut. Even if you do manage to debut, the chances of you becoming one of the top K-pop stars is very small, just because of how saturated the industry is. I mean, think about how many new K-pop stars debut every single year. There are just so many, and the competition is so intense. So it's impossible that everybody gets to succeed, and the chances of making it to the top is small. And so that leads me to point number two, which are the sacrifices that you have to make.
I done made sacrifices. So many sacrifices.
Obviously, as a K-pop trainee or a K-pop star, you're expected to spend long hours practicing and training, and you also have schedules on top of that. So there are a lot of aspects of your life that you'd have to compromise, including your social life, your hobbies, and most importantly, your education. Imagine if you're 15 years old and you spent 5 years training and then you got to debut. But then after 3 years of being a K-pop star, because you're unsuccessful enough, your company decides to disband your group. So now you're 23 and you're unemployed, you just wasted 8 years, and you have no education and you have no other work experience outside of K-pop. Then you're really left with nothing, and unfortunately, time isn't something that you can just get back.
I done gave up so much free time, no time ain't free. Fuck it, I sacrificed.
Okay, so moving on to point number three, which is the money.
Money, money, money. Money, money.
So you were probably thinking, so what if I don't have a job and I don't have an education? After all, I should have been making bank when I was a K-pop star, so I could just save up that money and live a comfortable life. Well, unfortunately, most K-pop stars don't really make a lot of money. One of the main aspects is obviously the fact that the company takes a large part of the profit. So I'm gonna put like a table here that shows how much each of the big three takes from their artists. So as you can see, it is a pretty substantial percentage, which is fair enough. But then you think that, let's say if the company says that they're going to take 50% of the profits. So that means if you make $1 million in album sales, they should get 500,000 and you should technically receive 500,000. Wrong. According to my calculations, you would be making $0. And that's when the break-even point comes in. Basically, as a trainee, you incur debt because obviously your vocal lessons, your dance lessons, all of that costs money, and unfortunately, that comes out of your pocket. So your 500,000 that you made goes towards paying off that debt. So let's say you incur $4 million in debt. After making all those album sales, you basically have $3.5 million of debt and $0 of income. And this will continue until you finish paying off all of that debt. And the worst part is every single comeback and new song that you have, you've got stylists, producers, so that's more debt that's being added on. Basically, that's the reason why even top groups like AOA took over 2 years before they saw their first paycheck. You can imagine if such a successful group takes 2 years to get their first paycheck and pay off their debt, how long it takes for an averagely successful group to actually get any money from their K-pop career at all. Point 4 is quality of life. Moneyless, no one will care about me. Often these K-pop companies put profits first and workers' rights second, and things like crazy diets, crazy schedules, the fact that like K-pop stars have no freedom at all. These are things that are very well documented and very well known. Instead of being condemned, they are actually celebrated and normalized.
아침에 일어나서 뭐 사과 반쪽인가 뭐 그거 먹고 운동장 막 40바퀴를 뛰고 그리고 줄넘기 하루에 2,000번인가 하고 먹는 것도 거의 없고
아니 그 정도면
밥은 하루에 반 끼
되겠다.
정도만 먹고
비상이 쪽 빠졌지.
그래서 단기간 동안 뭐 한 7kg 정도 빠진다는 사람도 있고 효과가 진짜 있어요.
Often you see K-pop stars fainting on stage, and there'll always be like some fans that are like,
Oh my god, she's so hardworking.
I don't know, that's not something that should be celebrated, you know what I mean? So it's likely that if you became a K-pop star, you'd also be expected to adhere to these crazy standards. I'm gonna put a link to Henry Prince Mac's video below. He was part of this boy group called JJCC in the past, and he basically describes his crazy schedule, and it's just so crazy. I can't imagine going through that. Point number 5 is creative freedom. And to some people, this might not be a big problem, but to me personally, I would hate to perform a song that I don't like. There have been so many instances whereby K-pop stars have said that, oh, actually, I don't like the song that I'm promoting.
텔미 진짜 있어.
텔미가
근데 우리는 이게 뭐냐고.
And can you imagine performing that again and again, like with so many music shows each week, like having to perform something that you don't enjoy? I wouldn't be able to do it. And the worst part is there are a lot of small companies that know that their artists aren't going to gain any traction or attention, so they try to do some attention-grabbing concepts that are often like very ridiculous or very provocative, such as these. I mean, mean, I guess there are some senior artists that get to decide their concepts and their songs a little bit when they get to a certain stage in their career. But usually for junior artists that are just starting out, there's like no way that they can decide on their concepts. And I just don't think I'll be able to deal with that personally. So that's another thing that you should consider. So after talking smack about the K-pop industry for 10 minutes straight, I guess now it's about time for me to actually say some good things about K-pop, and there are a lot, obviously. Firstly, you know, K-pop is constantly evolving, it's constantly improving. Its musical production, its production value and quality in general, and its dance is just improving by the day, and it's just so amazing how much K-pop has improved and how far it has come, and I believe it will continue to improve, expand, and gain traction. And nowadays, all the K-pop artists are so talented as well, which really shows that the training in terms of like the vocal lessons and the dance lessons, they really work, and they do make you like improve in those skills. So if that's something that you want to develop, then maybe being a trainee is a good option. And lastly, I think that even though I talked a lot about workers' rights and, you know, human rights violations in K-pop, I do believe that it will improve. It has already improved, and recently with the East Light situation, I'm not sure if you guys heard about it, but basically their company was exposed for abusing them. I think that it will really bring to light these issues, and hopefully the government will start to impose more regulations on K-pop companies, which they have actually been doing. And I just think that it will continue, the situation will continue to improve for K-pop artists, so that is something to bear in mind. Okay, my voice is slowly getting worse by the minute, so I think it's about time to end this video. I do hope that you enjoyed it and that it was informative. Do tell me if you enjoyed this new style of content. People who have been subscribed to me for a while will know that I usually just release dance covers, and while I do enjoy dancing, I also, you know, do want to show more of my personality and connect with you guys a bit more. So if there's anything else you'd like me to discuss, then do leave it in the comments below, and I'll try to see if I can make more of these sorts of videos. And don't forget to follow me on social media, including Instagram. As I said previously, I will be following people back, so just leave your username in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye! Guys, it's currently 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm still editing this video. All I can say is, I done gave up so much free time knowing time ain't free. Fuck it, I sacrificed it.